Good afternoon. It is Friday time, prime time, collaboration time, and you are welcome to Lunch Break Live. We're really, really excited. I still love the theme tune. I just cannot, and I'm probably a bit biased. I developed that one, not without the help of technology, but yeah, I just wanted something a bit energetic on a Friday lunchtime. So it's great to have you here, and it is another fantastic session. And I am really, really excited about this session. We are all about collaboration and working with people that are great fun and exciting and not boring. And certainly this week's guest is far from any of those. It's been a privilege. We've worked together at events. We've seen each other at events. We've worked together on a one-to-one basis. And it's really great to have this person on board. So without further ado, I am going to welcome the one and only, the funky diva. You will notice her coming at any event, and she is awesome. Lisa Newport, welcome to the room. How are you?
I'm all right now, Ricky, after all our tech, all our tech issues. But yeah,
Go on, sorry.
I've had some back's rescue remedy, so I'm feeling chill.
Good. Well, it is absolutely, even I know when we're at events and you are feeling chill, you never present as chill. You are always very excited, and the pink boa is out and the flashlights are out. I think you've earned the reputation as the naughty table, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I think we might have been taken over as somebody else might be the naughty table now, but we are the party table. Still the party table, I think, is a good way to describe us, because we do try and bring the party when we come to events. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. That's my sort of task, is to try and get the energy, and make people sort of feel like they're having fun even though we're working. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I know that there ain't no party like a Lisa Newport party, and please don't sue me for copyright with that song, but I think it's great. So there is more to you than the party person of the events, though, so we know that. So for those that are joining us, please comment, say hi. Let us know you're on. We've got the comments are open. Sharon is in. Sharon has been an avid watcher since we started this. Sharon Graves is with us. It's good to see you. Sharon. And she is like, Lisa. So when I was speaking to Sharon, when I said to Sharon, Lisa's going to be on, she was like, oh, that is awesome. That's amazing. Oh. So pop us a little wave. If you want questions or anything like that during our time with Lisa, then you've got the opportunity to do that. And we've got plenty of things to talk about. We've got shiny shoes to talk about. We've got funky diva to talk about. And where did it all come from? So we'll definitely get into that, and we'll share some links to some exciting things for you if you want to have a look at those as well. So Lisa, let's start with your business journey. I think there's been several things that we've talked about that you've done over the course of your time in business, but where did it all start?
Okay, so I'm going to take you right back into the early 80s. So probably before you were even born, Ricky. I wanted to be a makeup artist, so that was always my thing. I was always been a creative person, and I wanted to be a makeup artist. And after my A-levels, I was studying alongside my A-levels to do makeup and go into TV and theatre. That's what I really wanted to do. So to be doing all special effects and everything. And I've got a lifelong problem with my hip. And while I was doing that, I realised that it probably wasn't going to happen. Because there's lots of standard. They didn't have reasonable adjustments back in those days. It was like, this is the job, get on with it. And so what I ended up doing, I ended up becoming a textile designer. I went and did my degree and worked in textiles and fashion for quite a long time. So really specialising in colour and doing printed textiles for the high street. So anybody who was around in the late 80s, early 90s, probably if they got something with a print on it, it probably would have been one of my designs. I did that. Then I started lecturing. I worked in further and higher education, teaching other people how to be designers for quite some time until my son was born. And when my son was born, that was my first period of self-employment. I jacked my job. I really didn't plan to do this, but I didn't go back after maternity leave with my son. and started working in party plans, so multi-level marketing, for a company that was one of the Virgin companies at the time, and it was selling makeup in people's houses. So I went back and sort of like did full circle, but that was actually my first taste of being in business, doing multi-level marketing. So you've got the whole structure of the company, but it's up to you how you then build that and everything. And I was really, really successful at that. I met Richard Branson several times as part of the incentives and so on. Had the car, was presented on stage in front of 6,000 of my colleagues at the NEC, and all the rah-rah and the jazz hands and everything, and I absolutely loved that. And I did that for about 7 or 8 years until I got to a point where I thought, I've got all these teaching qualifications and experience, I should go back into teaching. And I did. They were advertising for an art teacher around the corner at prison. So a male prison, a male category B prison, full of rapists and shoplifters and you name it, the whole lot. And they wanted an art teacher, and I started doing that. And I did that. I did so well at that I got promoted. I was middle management, still fine, so it's creative. I'm doing my thing, loving it. And then I ended up becoming the manager. And that's when I started to die inside, because there was just no creativity at all in that role. Putting colours on spreadsheets and doodling in meetings was about as creative as it got. And it made me really ill. So everything came crashing down around 2013. I call my annus horribilis. And that's when my whole life imploded, with my work, my relationship, everything, just like, and I was kind of like rock bottom. And I thought, right, I need to do something for me. What can I do? So I basically set up my business in 2013 to all the bits of stuff that I'd enjoyed from all my previous bits and bobs. So I was working with colour. I was working with mostly women, empowering them, because that's what the Virgin V, the multi-level marketing, was all about, and the creative side of things. So I started working in business as I suppose most people would know what I do is stylist or image consultant, that kind of thing. But it was very much deeper. The work that I do is much deeper than that. But that was kind of when and how my business started. So it came from a place of, I need to do something for me, because I feel like my world's just sort of like rock bottom. I need to do something that's for me, and I don't want to be in a situation where other people can decide what and how I spend my day. And that's how I started my business. And that was, like I say, 13 years ago now, and here I still am. But within that, I suppose the last 13 years, my business has evolved as well over that time. So when I started out, I was very much working with people who, it's always been about empowerment, empowering people, but the focus was very much more on colour and clothes at the time. As the years have gone on, even though they were the colour and clothes are the thing that I used to use to get people into my world, but I find, that sounds really bad, I find that boring. I don't like shopping. I don't like clothes. And it's not about the clothes, it's about the person. So it's all about identity, really. The clothes are just a tool, but they're the bit that people used to get. So it was kind of, that was the thing I had to lead with. I did that. I've done that ever since I started. It's always been about empowerment, but I've gone less and less. I don't really talk about clothes anymore much. So, because that's not what excites me. It's boring. And there are lots of other people doing that. So I talk about unsausaging. Which is, I've got 3 steps to unsausaging, where you're in the sausage machine of conformity and you spot where you're squashed, you split from the skin, and then you sizzle into your funky diva era. So that's the journey I take people on, but using colour and clothes as the tool. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. And I'm not sure I would describe it as boring, having been through. I get where you're coming from, but boring, having been through some of the process with you. And I certainly don't think working with me and Paul is not without its challenges.
No, it's not the work that I find boring. I find fashion boring.
Yeah.
It's fashion. It's oh, this is on, particularly not so much for men, but more, it does exist for men, but in the women's fashion world, it's like, oh, the 10 must-haves you should wear for this season, and all that rubbish, and it's kind of like, no, it's not about following. See, it's like fashion is me too, style is just me, and I'm working with the just me. Who are you? How do you want to present yourself? How do you want to be perceived? How do you want other people to perceive you? How do you want to show up in the world? And that's what I help people do. We use clothes as the tool. It's not about, oh, checks and stripes are in this season, so you must go out and buy that's the bit that I'm not interested in who wore what at the Met Gala or any of that business, where you see stylists going, oh, this is the Pantone colour of the year. I'm like,
yeah, it's certainly interesting. But I think what's good is you bring that kind of what we've heard talked about at some of the events we've attended, that honest kindness to it. Like when you very early on asked us, "You're not going to be wearing those hats, are you?" it was that honest kindness that
I think I think I asked questions initially to find out why you thought the hats were a good idea.
Yeah.
So I wanted to understand why you'd chosen those hideous orange hats.
The hats have gone in the bin.
And then I explained to you why they might not be the best choice of.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding. It's about understanding first. I think that the thing with all the work that I do, it's about asking questions and finding out what does, the individual that I'm working with, what do they want to achieve from our work together? And then I work quite as a coach, mentor, sort of, I sort of switch between, a sort of like, I'm intuitive in the way that I work, depending on what's needed. Consultant, coach, mentor, it's all kind of fluid.
Yeah. We've got Ben Bryant from your video team, Rachel and Ben, who have been on, has joined us as well. And Ben was saying that he always thought he had to show up in a hoodie and jeans as a cool videographer, but actually he loves wearing a suit and a waistcoat. It feels much more like me. Also, he is. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, because this is about that. I know we've talked about it, Ricky. It's about being what I call confident, and it's about being comfortable and confident in the situation or environment that you're going into. So jeans and a hoodie might be right for one situation or environment, but a suit and tie. And it's about never feeling underdressed or overdressed. It's about feeling what's right for you. And this whole sort of the levels of dressing and working out what your style recipe is in terms of what the ingredients are. And, I know we've done work around this. It's kind of like, and we know what your basic style recipe is, and then we know where to add the ingredients depending on what you want to achieve. And it's a lot more than a makeover. We're not talking about, okay, here you go, I can do that. But that's very shallow, superficial level of getting dressed. And that's the bit that, when I say it bores me, that's the bit that bores me, because it is shallow and superficial, and I like to get a bit deeper than that. But with Ben, and Ben rocks his suit. He looks really cool in it. So, and it's when you feel good in what you're wearing. The whole science behind it is called enclothed cognition. And it's about, when you put something on that makes you feel good, your shoulders go back, you stand taller, you carry yourself differently, your body language changes. Because then your body language changes, people perceive you differently. So it's like it's a physiological thing. You change how you feel and how you show up by what you wear. And that's the simple science behind it. So it's learning what gives you that confidence on purpose, so you know what to do, right? You're not relying on somebody to tell you what's in fashion, what's on trend, what you should be wearing, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And Benny's saying that he's in his orange hoodie today. He's in Dress Down Friday. So yeah, he's having a dress down day. Adrian's also saying, good afternoon, just managed to join. Hi, Adrian. Hope you're well. Good to see you. So let's talk a little bit about your journey in business, because again, this is
Mhm.
when we first did this, I very much wanted those honest conversations of not showing business as this successful, polished journey and saying that, you know, it's the £1 million overnight successes and things like that. I really wanted that one that digs down deep so that people in their early stages get that it's not just me going through this experience. So
Mhm.
your early stages in business, what would you say were some of the bigger or more memorable challenges that you had? What was one of the challenges that you really had that you really remember, and how did you kind of move past that?
I think in the very early days, it's about having a consistent income and making, you know, rather than being feast or famine, and learning how to sort of, because you're not just in business. I always talk about, when I do my talk about the sausage machine, and I talk about when I first started in business, thinking that I was out of the sausage machine. You know, I'd left the job, and you can just start your own business and do the fun stuff all day, every day, and then you realise you can't, because there's all the promotion and the marketing and the sale, you know, all of that. And I always talk about, then you're still in the sausage machine, but you're a chorizo with a LinkedIn profile. And I think that was very much about the kind of like, I think you do think naively when you start in business that, oh, great, I can just do what I want all day and get money for it. And then it's like, oh, there's all this other stuff that I don't really want to do. And you're in that situation where you can't afford to offload it to somebody else. You can't necessarily afford to pay somebody else to do it. And the other thing as well, I think I did, took work on that I perhaps wasn't as aligned with, because it paid, and then the joy is not there. And then when the joy's not there, it becomes a chore, so you enjoy it less. And then you're thinking, oh, everybody, you know, we all have shall I just go and get a job shelf stacking at Tesco's? You know, you have that, you go around in those cycles. And I think it's not about, you know, it's hard. I think starting your own business is hard, and because you have to do all the different things and all the juggling. But it's about having the confidence in yourself as well to just say, no, I don't want to do that work, because you take stuff on because you're thinking, oh, I need the money. And then as you get more established, it's kind of like you can turn work down and be open. You know, if you're creating space, and it sounds a bit woo-woo, but you're creating space to get the stuff in that you want in more. And I think there's also a massive thing for me when I first started in business as well. I was introduced to the law of attraction and manifestation, and that whole concept of what you focus on, you get more of, and gratitude, and being grateful for the things that I had got that were working, helped me really focus, because I was in a very negative space when I wasn't very well. I was mentally absolutely shattered when I did start my business. And it was very much kind of like, you know, it was like I needed stuff to get through that early stage. So it's like, right, I'm not focusing on the negative stuff, but look at the good stuff, and then more of the good stuff comes in. So I think those were my main challenges, about being that consistent level of income. And I did all kinds of different things as a creative person. I was like, right, what else can I do that's not bringing enough money in yet, so what else can I do that's sort of linked but isn't, you know? So, and I even ended up renting out some rooms in my house on Airbnb, you know, to get some money in, because I didn't want to lose. I needed to keep my mortgage paid, and that was a way of doing it, because I'd got that option to do that, so I did that. That's another story for another day, about the Chinese con woman. But hey ho.
Have you heard the story from Miriam Margolyes about renting a home out in Dover? Oh, absolutely! I would encourage anyone to go and look it up. She rented a home, and it turned out it was a drug stealing gang that were renting the home, and she ended up with all these questions about it. It's such a funny story that she tells. It's one of those, definitely go and look it up. But yeah, I think it is that you kind of just find those different things that help as you're going in business, don't you? Adrian's saying that the trains to London are cancelled, so he's repurposing his day to day, which often we find in business, you have to take those moments, don't you?
Absolutely. I always call that the gift of time.
Yeah.
So, but it's, and also I think what the other thing is about networking was a thing. I didn't even know networking existed. You know, it was like been in this world of, so when I worked for Virgin V, it was like we didn't need to network because you sort of just did it and got on with it. I didn't in those days, before even social media. And then working in employment, and then it's like, what? People are going having breakfast.
Yeah.
People are meeting and after 6 a.m. and having breakfast together. You know, that was like completely alien to me. And I think it's finding the right networking groups for you. You know, be a bit of a networking groupie, try them all, and then see where you fit, where you belong. You don't want to be auditioning to fit in and having to mask. You know, that's something else I've learned over the years. You want to find the places where you can be yourself, because while you're not being yourself, you're not being your authentic self, you're also then blocking your energy. And I think the more you can be yourself, you attract people to you. You're more magnetic.
Yeah, it's what I love, these little sayings that come up. I love your one about chorizo in a LinkedIn machine. I think that's brilliant. And the networking one is what I always call the croissant questions, because you'll get a cup of coffee, you get a croissant, you take a bite, and then someone asks you a question, and you're just like, it's like, hold on while I finish this first. But yeah, I think that's one thing for me. In my early days, my introduction to business was the multi-level marketing side of things, and I found that was one of the things that were good for it, was the personal development that came with that industry, that introduced you to things that you weren't aware of. So I like the way you talked about the repurposing of the trains as the gift of time, which is quite a positive way of looking at it. When you're having one of those days in business or one of those weeks, what is something that you do that helps you to kind of turn it around and to move forward with it? Because that's what a lot of people struggle with, is that, how do I turn this around when I'm feeling like absolute, how do I turn it around because everything's going wrong, and I move past that point? So what's something that you do?
I think for me now, these days, it's quite different because the pressure is off, in as much as I'm, you know, everybody's laughing at me when I say I'm trying to retire, because I'm I'll even laugh at myself when I say it. But I think before I was trying to retire, I would do tasks, because you've always got a to-do list or to-da list. I prefer to call it a to-da list, because when you tick things off, it's ta-da. You've always got the list, but it's kind of looking at the list, and you've got your priorities. Prioritizing is a key thing, isn't it, when you're working for yourself? Doing that whole, I don't know if you've come across the quadrants where you've got urgent and important, and so using those quadrants, and you know, you've got your urgent and you've got your important. Your quadrant 2 is where the best place to hang out, where it's not urgent but it is important. So that's where you sort of like is the best place to spend time, where you can be really in flow. So I think it's the balance between finding, you've got your to-do list you have to do, doing some of those tasks, but then rewarding yourself with some of the nice things to do, because there's always bits that you enjoy doing more than others. They call it eating the frog, don't they, where you do the rubbishy things first. So it's like, if you know that you love, I don't know, for me it's like, you know, I enjoy what I call dicking about on Canva. Not so much these days, but I used to enjoy that, and I would sit and make, before Instagram changed the grids to 4.5, I would spend ages curating this beautiful grid that wasn't necessary. It just meant that when somebody logged on to my Instagram, you could scroll it, and it was just like one long roll of wallpaper, never-ending roll of wallpaper. And I was so chuffed when I figured out how to do that. And I used to love doing it, and I really enjoyed doing it. So it was marketing, but it was something I enjoyed as well because of the creativity. So that was like my little treat. If I'd got time, when I'd done some boring jobs, do some nice stuff, do some things that you enjoy doing, you know, or talk to some people, talk to nice people. That's always a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. I think when you find those events that really work for you and you find those people that you align with in business, it just makes it so easier. Ben was saying that they've learned the
yeah,
misaligned from with customers, and it makes the business draining, especially when you start the loving of what you do, and then
yeah,
the wrong client can taint it so much. And we've all been there with that. And I think, because there's some great stuff that you are doing and working on at the moment, which I think we've just got to share, because I don't know anywhere else you can go and work with someone for a day, do some stuff that helps you identify who you are and where you're going, and walk away with some bright, sparkly, shiny shoes that you've redone and recraft. I just think these sassy shoes thing
I'm
is
so excited.
awesome. So I'm going to share it, but I want you to just tell us a little bit about the sassy shoes experience.
I'm so excited about this whole thing. So it's kind of come from me talking about the sausage machine. So, and then stepping into your funky diva era. So funky diva, you could be funky diva, funky dude. You know, it's an attitude. It's not about whether you're male or female or whatever. Funky diva energy is attitude. And that whole attitude is about putting yourself first, not putting yourself at the back of the queue. You know, the what about me, and putting your own oxygen mask on first. All of the things that we tend to, life gets in the way, and then you're like, oh, you know, who am I? What do I do? I don't even know who I am anymore. So the whole sassy shoes experience is we're doing some work around stepping into the funky diva energy in the morning, and I'll be going through my sausage, my 3 steps to unsausaging, the spot, split, sizzle 3 steps. And it's not kind of there's going to be a bit of deep, you know, a bit of thinking, a bit of reconnecting with who you are as an individual and that kind of thing. And it's not in a sort of like sitting around in a circle kumbaya kind of, that kind of deep work, but it will be fun. But because everything I do, I make it fun, you know, and even when it's deep work, it's enjoyable stuff. So we're going to do that in the morning, but then you bring a pair of your old shoes with you. And this is what I'm so excited about. So you bring a pair of your old shoes with you. So then we're going to have a really nice lunch, picky bits, nice sandwiches and picky bits. And then in the afternoon, we do this crafting, which is actually using metallic foil. So that gold leaf, but all different colours, on a pair of shoes that you've brought with you. So you can basically tart up a pair of shoes. So you can then, you've got something to take away. So you physically can step into your power. So you've got this pair of shoes that are like super, like this super. You need to, everybody who's watching, if you're wondering what I'm on about, have a look on my Instagram, my posts. But it's just so exciting. And I've been teaching myself how to do it for the last few months so that I can teach other people how to do it.
I've put up the website link to it if people want to go and see what the experience is about as well, because I just love when you started talking about this. Although I think it's slightly dangerous, because we know that Paul has got a thing about tailor-made shoes, and we've had this conversation. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea to promote so openly with Paul. We might end up with, you know, metallic shoes as a thing, which would be quite interesting.
Fine. You know, you just need to create a loop.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great idea. And you can also, if you want to connect on Instagram as well, instagram.com Lisa Newport / Lisa Newport _fab as well, which I would suggest, because like Lisa says, she is absolutely fun, even when you're doing that deep work. And myself and Paul really struggled with aligning ourselves with our brand, because we are very different in the way we dress. And we kind of had that conversation. Initially, it was a conversation with Lisa where I went, I know where we can get what we need for the event. Let's call Lisa. And I called Lisa. I was like, you'll know what I'm looking for. And it was just that it's a bit more deeper than that. But if you're just looking to get this, but you really need to work on this. So I'm officially claiming we brought you back out of retirement again.
Well, I've said all along, I'm doing up to 10 people a year.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, but I thought, I'm not really pushing it. I'm not hustling. I'm not doing the whole, you know, 10 figure months and 7 figure business hustle, because I was just so tired of that. And I think also as well, it was like last year, and I'd been ill for about 6 months, didn't know what was wrong with me. It turned out I was critically anemic. I had all these tests, but this was this is where the whole semi-retirement and stuff came from, because I got to a point where I thought, I don't need to work this hard. I can take some of my teaching pension already. I'm going to take a bit of that, take the pressure off, and then just see what happens. And then I started painting, because it's very easy to, when you do work for yourself, it's very, very easy. You get into the habit, I think, and I know a lot of people I know do, where you get into the habit where you just fill your time with work, because you never feel that you've finished. It's never like, it's not like going to work, having a job, a 9 to 5, and then you're done. It's kind of, you never switch off. So it's very easy, especially when you love what you do, to fill your time. And so that's when I started painting, and then that's where the Funky Divas stuff came out, and the Funky Divas are actually a thing. So there, I ended up with a deck of cards.
Yeah, we've got these cards. Every now and again, you see something slightly new appears from Lisa, but it's always along. We've got a card that, sadly, actually now we can't. It was the flamingo with the writing on. But unfortunately,
the naughty writing.
Tells you to be iconic. We're pre-watershed, so I'll be careful.
Yeah.
But, it was absolutely brilliant, because it was just that little reminder, and that fun little reminder. But tell us about the Funky Diva cards.
Well, these are all. So this is a new deck. I've just published. It's not been launched yet, so these are not on sale yet. My sponsors have got some. But basically, this particular deck is they're affirmation cards. So each one's different. They've all got a name, and then they've all got a little affirmation on the back. So there are archetypes within them, but like this one's Angela, and it says, I can let things feel easier. Not everything has to be a push. Not everything has to feel hard to be worthwhile. Sometimes we get so used to effort that ease feels unfamiliar and even uncomfortable. But ease isn't laziness, it's alignment. So Ben's talking about alignment earlier, wasn't he? Unsausaging and stepping into your Funky Diva energy is often about releasing the unnecessary tension you've been carrying, letting things be easier where they can. Life can feel lighter. What could you allow things to feel a little bit easier today? Where could you allow things to feel a little bit easier today? So it's about, each one has got a different question. So the questions, some people use them for meditation, some people use them for journaling, some people just pull a card and sit with it for a bit. So at my Sassy Shoes workshop, these are the things that we'll be starting off with, to get the questions flowing, to sort of like get the grey matter working, to think, right, where are you being sort of squished in the sausage machine? So I bet people watching this who don't know me think I'm absolutely fine.
It's great, but that's what it's about, because business is not a set type, and that's what we want to bring to it. And what I love about that is, in the early stages, when you are in the early stages of business, there are so many questions that come up, and you get so overwhelmed and you don't know where to turn. Having a resource like that, where you can just pull out and ask yourself a question, but you haven't got to think of the question to ask. And that's what I think, for any person in business, building that toolkit of things that ask you those questions and allow you to do that, is where kind of need to go. Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons for setting up this lunch break live, and being able to bring people on and have those conversations with them, to kind of allow those questions to come out and things like that. So, even if someone is watching on replay, please #replay, put a question or a comment, because the people that we generally talk to, work with, collaborate with, bring onto the conversation, they're nice people. So you might actually find they come and answer the question as well. And, Lisa is a little bit famous now, so you might feel that you've got that little bit of fame, having connected with Richard Branson many times and things like that.
I'm sure he wouldn't remember me.
You might be surprised. It's one of those, you know. Would it be great if he was watching on replay and suddenly commented? So Richard Branson, we're going to put a little hashtag out to you. If you watch this and you remember Lisa, please comment and say hi, Lisa, and let us know that you remember Lisa. And we'll see what happens. You know, maybe there'll be another opportunity to jump on board and have a chat with him. So yeah, so. Like we said, you said that people that don't know you are hearing some things like sausage machine and chorizo in a LinkedIn machine and things like that. I think let's just share a little bit about this, because I've seen the sausage machine on stage. It's been on stage with the feather boa, you know. So anyone that wants an interesting talk at their event, Lisa Newport is the person that will bring a sausage machine. I bet you've not had one of those on stage. Tell them about the sausage machine, Lisa.
The sausage machine of conformity is, so the gist of my talk is about how we're all born creative. And, you know, when we're young, when we're kids, we all sing, we can all draw, we all dance, and we're not bothered about what other people think. And then it gets to, we start to feel self-conscious by the time we get to about 5 or 6. And for the majority of us, we go to school, and before we've even lost our baby teeth, we're doing sats, you're sitting in rows, and so you're already being squished in the machine. And then you become a teenager and you want to be the same as everybody else because you don't want to be the kid with the wrong trainers in case you get bullied, you know, and all of that. So it's all about everything. Society is designed to put us in boxes and to squish us. So that's the concept of the sausage machine. And then, you know, you leave school, you go to university. It's like university, get a job, get a mortgage, and you're in the machine. You know, you're in the machine. So, and basically, what the actual sausage machine is, it's one of those. It's a big cardboard box. Who gives a crap? Cardboard box with the thing, and whilst I'm doing my talk, I pull sausages out of it. So everybody remembers the sausages. The sausages are actually made from bandages. I made those last year. I was stuffing bandages with sewing them and stuff like that. But so, and then then I talk about, you know, we do things where we think we have more freedom. And this is when, for me, it's when I started working for myself, and then I became a chorizo with a LinkedIn profile. So the sausages come out, they're a slightly different colour because then they're chorizos. But then I talk about how, depending on who my audience is, I sort of tweak my talk depending on my audience and what they need to get from it. I was at an event that was a women's business event recently, and they wanted to hear more about the enclothed cognition side of things. So I sort of tailored it so that it was more about clothes and how we become squished in the machine, wearing slimming black and all of that and whatever. So I talk about that, but then I talk about the 3 steps to unsausaging, which is spotting where you're squished in the machine, splitting the skin open, breaking free, and then sizzling into your funky diva era. And that's when the drag queen boa comes out, which is about 13 foot long, and it takes forever. I think there's a video of it on the top. It's pinned on my LinkedIn somewhere, I think, where I'm like, and it's sort of like I'm pulling this bloody boa out. So I end up on stage, and there's pictures of, and when I think most people think, so I've got a headband with a sausage on, a squeaky sausage, and I've got this boa and then this cardboard box. But it came about because I wanted to show my creativity and to show that business can be fun. It doesn't have to be, you know, boring, wearing a navy blue suit and all la-di-da. It's kind of the message and the concept is about actually being more you, being yourself, self-expression. And when you have that freedom and you feel more confident in who you are as an individual, then you do step into your own power and things become easier and you're not as squished by the machine. And that's the whole message of everything that I do, really, whether it's what clothes you wear or, you know, standing on stage with a boa and sausages on your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrian is saying he remembers the urgent importance matrix for years. He's worked with that, and that's helps to avoid leafy lane syndrome. He's putting it. Ben is saying love a Lisa Boa. So they're now going to be renamed Lisa Boas. So it's the Lisa. I think there's a bit of a merchandise thing coming on here. Maybe at the next large scale arena style event, we can have a Lisa Boa stand.
You know what? I've thought about doing events, and I keep thinking, oh, I'd love to, and then I keep thinking, no, because other people. So this was why I ended up at the Big Festoon. Obviously, you know, I'm a big Festoon fan, and you know, I'm a bit of a fixture and part of the fixtures and fittings now, because I had a network. I was running a network. I created a network. This was where the FAB thing comes from, female, authentic and ballsy. It was at the time a few years ago, because I couldn't find a networking group where I felt I could be myself. I felt like I was squished in the machine. So I created this female, authentic and ballsy network, and I was going to put an event on. And somebody had said about it wasn't the Big Festoon at the time, it was called Be Inspired. And I got a ticket, and I thought, well, I'll go and see because I've followed Danny. I've known Danny a very long time. I thought, I'll go and see what Danny's doing, you know, and see if I can pick up some tips. And I went, and I was just blown away. And I thought, there's absolutely no point me even trying to put an event on. What I'll do, I'll just have a table and bring people to this. And that's kind of how I ended up at the event. But yeah, I've thought, you know, this year I love the idea of doing a retreat. And then what stops me, it's the organisation and the admin and all of that, and the selling of the ticket. And I just think, that's not what I want to do. That's not where I want to be spending my energy. And if I don't want to do that, then I need to pay somebody else to do it. And if I need to pay somebody else to do it, I've got to work harder to make enough money to be able to justify paying somebody else to do it. And I don't want to work that hard.
I don't blame. I totally get that. Events are not the easiest thing to put on.
There's so many moving parts to events, and anybody who puts a good event on, you know, there's so much work goes into it. So much work goes into it. So, you know, it's I enjoy going to events. I enjoy being there and part of it, and you know, if the vibe's right. And I mean, you know, it's different for me at the moment as well, because I'm in my semi-retirement, you know, and the age I'm at. It's different to how I wanted. My objectives now are different to what they were 2 or 3 years ago. You know, so I'm turning up to have a good time, meet my mates, you know, have a bit of a chin wag, and I'm not there to try and gain business or anything, and you know, do the whole sort of work in the room kind of thing. I think that's what you do need to do. I know Danny particularly talks about being an active delegate, you know, and I'm kind of like, I'm the most inactive delegate you can find in terms of working a room these days.
Well, you say that, but we've seen the feather boa, the flashing lights that come out, the whole table, you know, and naturally, I think that was for me being at the Big Festoon. That was what I loved about the event, was as a new person going for the first time, there are people that genuinely, and you're one of them, that will genuinely notice that you're new and just say hi to you and just talk to you and make you feel welcome.
And give you a feather boa and
give you a feather boa and say, come and sit here, there's a seat here, you know. And it is absolutely that's what's special about that kind of event, is that you have those people in the audience that do that, like yourself, like Gemma, Danny's sister, is very good at doing it. I remember she did that at the first Big Festoon as well, and it's just that's what feels different. But I think that's when networking becomes more natural and works better anyway, because you're not trying.
And that's where it comes back to that belonging rather than trying to fit in. Because when you're in the right space, you can feel it. You can feel the difference. The energy is different. If you're sort of like a bit and you're trying to, you know, then it becomes hard work, and it's like you're exhausted, you know, because you're trying to be something that you're not, or you're being how you think you should be. And you know, it's back to that being you, being able to be authentic, and finding places that you can be yourself and be aligned with what's going on. I think that's the biggest bit of advice I would give to anybody. Find your tribe. I think it's the thing, because when you're in, you can then thrive.
Yeah.
Once you find your tribe, that's where you will then feel most comfortable and be able to be yourself, express yourself, and be who you are.
Yeah.
And then things work. So
yeah,
and clothes help you do that.
absolutely.
The thing is as well, when if you're wearing something, you don't have to wear an orange hat or whatever, but you're giving out messages, you're visually communicating with how you dress, and people will either be attracted to you or not.
Yeah.
Because of what you're wearing, and that
Yeah.
is it's a conversation starter as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Having a stupid drag queen boa walking around looking like you.
Yeah. Or a very silly hat.
So it's the conversation starters,
Yeah.
it's and the easiest thing in the world to start a conversation with somebody is to give them a compliment, oh, I love your jacket,
Yeah.
or hey, your shoes are great, or where did you get your glasses from? So it's an easy, and when you compliment people, if it's, you can't go and make it up, and if you really don't, don't be bullying people, but it makes people feel good, like, oh, thank you,
Yeah.
so it's a nice way to be.
Absolutely. I know that we could talk for absolutely ages, and we could go on for ages, and we have come to the end of the time today.
How long I've just seen.
It's
very
been
focused
awesome. It has been awesome. So if you want to connect with Lisa, then you've got her facebook.com/Lisa Newport FAB1. There's her website, which I know there's a little bit of work happening on that, but lisanewport.com. Instagram, you can connect with her on Instagram. You can connect with her on the Sassy Shoes experience as well. If you want to book on that, definitely go on that. But it has been absolutely awesome to have you on. Thank you so much for agreeing to come and work with us on this and be part of what we're creating. Thank you for
inviting me. I hope it's a big success for you. It's lovely to chat as always. So,
excellent. And we will see you for our next session soon. We look forward to it. Thank you, Lisa. Have a good day, everyone out there. It's been Prime Time, Friday Time, Collaboration Time. We've enjoyed it and had an absolute blast. Hope you have too. If you're on replay, #replay, still comment. Ben is saying, see you soon. Comments coming in now. Lovely to see everyone. Good to have you on board. And we'll see you next Friday for another Lunch Break Live.